Perfect. Oh, hey. You know, I bet you're wondering how we got to this point. Obviously, something big has changed here. That's not an Xbox 360. Well, it's been an interesting journey. So stay tuned and we'll walk you through it. So we got some bad news, unfortunately. It looks like we're going to be sidelining the Xbox 360 computer build for a little bit, but that's okay. We do have a backup plan, and I will go into that in a few minutes, but I just want to give you an update as to why this isn't going to work. I mean, I will say I'm very proud of the work I did. As you can see, we got the motherboard successfully mounted inside of the computer, or inside of the frame. Got a hole properly cut out for the I/O shield, and everything still works. The computer's still booted. Not going to really hook it up right now because no point in it, because I have to tear all this down now anyway. So the problem we ran into was with this. It was with the graphics card. And I knew it was a long shot, but I was really thinking that we were going to be able to get it to work. And if you can see, we had no room to spare here. It was really close, and I think the problem is I set it off from the side, set it off from the side just a little too much. And that just caused me not to have any room between the Wi-Fi ports here on the motherboard and the side of the graphics card, which in turn meant that there will be no room on the side of the graphics card for the power. So for now, we're going to be sidelining the Xbox 360 modern gaming PC. Still going to put a computer in here. It'll just probably be integrated graphics, kind of like what I originally intended with this. And it'll still be a cool little build, probably for like a little home theater PC that won't be gamed on. And you know, it'll still be unique. I don't consider this a failure. It's just a setback. Out with the old, in with the, I guess in this case, older. That's right, we have now got an original Xbox. Went with a system I found on eBay, non-working. After I opened it up, I discovered that the power supply unit it looked like it had a total meltdown, and the motherboard looked like there had been a small electrical fire, so it was a lost cause. So what I've already, in the interest of saving time, already broke down this system and already did the fabrication work, or in this instance, I suppose you could say defabrication. We'll just go give a little quick walkthrough of what all I did. The big thing was modifying the back of the system, back of the console, to accept the I/O plate. As you can see here, I'm pretty pleased with this. It's nothing professional level, but you know, I'm very pleased with this, especially given my first attempt. I used a Dremel to cut the hole for it. I cut out this section here for the graphics card. We did do a dry mount, and everything does fit in this system. That was another reason I wanted to go with an Xbox, the original Xbox. I almost called it an Xbox One, but hey, Microsoft naming scheme. To make everything work on the front end, I did take out a bit here, and you'll understand why in a minute. I took out, anyone that's ever disassembled an Xbox knows that there's a lot of plastic parts here that will stick through from the shell, the outer shell, into the thin metal frame skeleton. And I Dremeled all of that out. We drilled the 4 holes here for the motherboard, and we will be getting all of this assembled here shortly. The other big thing, and this was a little joy that I discovered. Oh, damn. And we're back. Sorry about that, everybody. It's always a fun time when you go to start filming what you've done and reassembling a project, and you discover that a couple of your wires have been cut. Anyway, got all that re-spliced together, soldered, And anyway, no, this is a part of the one of the things that I'm pretty pleased with. I don't have that much experience soldering and doing electrical work. I do computer stuff, and I'm sorry, but putting computers together is not electrical. And what we have here, this is the, just like the Xbox 360, I'm retaining the power logic board. We've cut out a lot of the unnecessary stuff. Originally, I was going to try and use the eject button as a reset button, and then retain the power button as power button. But there must be some sort of wire crossing. I'm not entirely sure what the situation is, but I was able to get everything working, but the reset button would interfere with the power button, and I'm guessing it's because there's always power going to the eject button once the system's on. I don't know, but trying to do the wiring there, it just wasn't worth the time and effort. So the eject button is not going to do a blessed thing on this system. As an added little bonus, I did install some just cheap, simple green LEDs on either side of the reset button where the green glow would light up. And so when the system is on, there will be a faint green glow. I don't remember what the original Xbox green, how vivid that was, but it's there, but it's not obnoxious. It's not like that, if you will. So with the majority of the fabrication work done on this system, the next step is going to be just doing a final cleaning of all the parts. We're going to just make sure that all the metal shavings have been removed from the console, make sure all the little plastic flakes that were created when using a plastic Dremel, make sure all of that's removed, get this as clean as we can, and we're going to start installing the components in the system. Big update, everyone. Everything except for the graphics card is now in the Xbox. I know it doesn't look pretty, and I know my desk, my workbench is quite the mess right now, but that's what happens. We're not going to worry about that till we're done here. But as you can see, the motherboard and everything is solidly attached here, not going anywhere. Very pleased with how that turned out. We've got the power button installed. That is going to be directly under the GPU. We are threading the power button behind the riser cable just to keep that naturally out of the way of the GPU fan when that's running. That would be a disaster. The only thing I still have to do in here is secure down the power supply. That isn't going to be too much of a problem. Just going to jury rig something up there. We're going to do all the cable management after the GPU is in. And as soon as I cut, I'm going to start working on the prototype. It's going to be kind of like a little riser stand I'm going to 3D print. Nothing too fancy. I'm going to probably even jerry rig something with double-sided tape. That industrial 3M glue tape. I think that's the best way I can describe that. Really strong. I use that for a lot of things. That should hold everything in place here. Going to go ahead and go do a little bit of CAD work, get those prototype stands built. I'll throw in some of that 3D printing footage for your entertainment, but we'll be back shortly with a little more progress. Are in the home stretch now, folks. Everything is coming together. I wanted to show the innards one last time before we close this thing up. The power supply is secured in place. The graphics card, with the help of the little brackets I was printing, is secured. We'll do an upside down test. We'll be Dairy Queen here. Blizzard reference there. Not sure if that translates outside of the US. I have done a little bit of testing on this. I've run it under a synthetic load using Unigen Heaven benchmark, and we are running into some thermal, I'll call them issues. we're hitting 87, 88, 89 degrees Celsius depending on the room temperature. And while that is still under the acceptable limits of the temperature on the graphics card, it's still a little warmer than I'd like, but honestly, I knew that this was going to be a toasty build, excuse me. So as you can see, I've installed a little knock to a 40 millimeter fan on the back here. I was supposed to get a second one, not sure what happened with my order with Amazon, but the second one is on the way. Not going to wait around for that because I really don't think it's going to make that much difference in the long run. But the second fan is just going to attach. It's a splitter, a motherboard power splitter there for the fan control. So we're just going to run those probably at full speed. The computer's not going to be on very often. Not going to be running 24/7, just going to be used as needed. We also did some cutting into the top, into the little vents, and that helped a little bit. I think the first iteration of the cuts brought the temperature down by 1 degree Celsius, which isn't, that's a result. And then the second iteration brought the temperature down a little further. I just widened the vents to be the whole length of the side between the X marks on the Xbox. And, you know, it turned out pretty good. Again, nothing totally professional here, but honestly, this is, for a first time building in something that's not a computer, I'm very pleased with how this is turning out. So we will be right back. I'm going to put the lid on to the Xbox. I'm going to button it up. We're going to connect it to just my test monitor and platform here. We're going to do some thermal benchmarks just for the viewers' benefit, and we are just about done. I'm really excited to start using this as an actual gaming computer. And there you have it. It's an Xbox. Looks slightly different, but in the end, it is definitely still an Xbox. I am very pleased with how that paint job turned out. My only regret is that I didn't spray the entire chassis down with that matte black before I started mounting hardware in it. But you know what? I've learned for the next time. You know what? I am very, very pleased with how this turned out. You know, I know that I was originally going to put this all in an Xbox 360, but in some ways, I'm actually glad that hasn't worked out. Again, we're gonna make that work. We're gonna do something with the Xbox 360. I just don't know what yet. Before I forget again, there is one piece of hardware in this system that I've completely forgot to mention throughout the build process, and it's this. This is a remote starter by Seasonic. You can get it on Amazon or Newegg or any major online retailer. I don't remember how much this was. I got it a few years ago for one of my old home theater builds and haven't been using it, so I thought it would be kind of neat just to have it in this Xbox so we could boot it remotely. And so let's go ahead and get this booted. Again, this isn't the first time I've had it booted, so we know that it's going to work. Hopefully it's going to work. It will boot to Windows. I've got Windows 10 loaded on here. I've got Forza. I've got Steam installed. Yep, there we go. We are go. Let that boot, but I'm very, very pleased with this. All right, we've posted. Oh man, I tell you, no matter how many times I build a computer, that load will get me now and then. And we're going to cut here so I can put in my credentials, and we'll come back in a minute. I felt obligated to put an Xbox wallpaper on here. Not sure if that's going to stay, but you know, it's the little things. The little things amuse me in life. All right. What we're going to do now is just load up Heaven Benchmark. We're going to run everything on high settings at 1080. The computer that this is going to, or the monitor that this is going to be connected to, it's actually our living room TV, and that's a 4K TV. But for now, we'll just see how 1080 is. I'll probably end up playing most of our games at 1080, but we're going to let this thing heat soak, and we'll be back with thermals and fan noise analysis in a minute. Okay, we've been letting the Heaven benchmark utility run for about 30 minutes here. I'm not really testing clock speeds. We're running at the default. It's not going to overclock this for obvious reasons, but I'm not sure if you can hear the fan noise from this, but it's loud. I mean, the fans are all running at this point at full speed just to keep up with the temperatures, but it's not unbearable, especially since it's going to be sitting 10 feet away from the people that are using it. As far as temperatures are concerned, here we are, same as it was before, 86, 87, 88 degrees Celsius. So still within that level of usability without fearing for damaging the hardware inside the computer. But I definitely wouldn't mind trying to get it down a little further. Those LEDs just burned out. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm not going to deal with that. You know what? It's part of this computer's charm. It's part of this system's charm. Well, that's going to do it for this video, everybody. Oh, tree. I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope you enjoyed this Xbox build. If you did, and if you want to see more content like this, drop a comment down in the comment section, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. We really appreciate all the support, and until our next video, make it a great day. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm done. That was pretty good, I think. Oh.